xDefiant is a throwback to classic arcade shooters set in the Ubisoft universe. I know that sounds absolutely wild, but this game is looking to be a diamond in the sea of rough FPS games we've seen in recent years. I grew up on Call of Duty games like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare 2 and 3, and Black Ops 1 and 2. It's safe to say the series was a staple of my childhood. These games were how I met many online friends, and I'd quickly rush home after school to get my time in. I was obsessed, and these games were truly what got me into online gaming. As the years went on, Call of Duty lost a lot of its life for me, and the games, while being modernized, lost a lot of the charm, as well as the arcadey feel that I had grown to love. There's nothing wrong with growing and moving forward, but Call of Duty became just another shooter. There's really no other game that's taken up the reins and become a proper arcade shooter either. xDefiant is a game that I think will revitalize that for me. xDefiant is a free-to-play game, which is absolutely amazing to me, especially considering how much content there already is. There are 14 maps to play on. That's incredible, and for a while, I was wondering if I'd ever play on the same map again. The rotation is really solid, and at the beginning, it was rare to play on the same map twice. For a free-to-play game to have more maps already, it's really showing other FPS games what's up. There are also plenty of guns and attachments to play around with as well. The loadout customization is very akin to old Call of Duty, allowing you to kit out your primary and secondary weapon and pick a piece of gear to use. Grenades, mines, all that. I know more guns will be added, but with so many maps, I was surprised that there weren't really that many here, but that's fine, it's a beta. Where this game differs is in the different faction abilities. Much like a hero shooter, you can pick specific characters from various Ubisoft games that have their own unique active abilities and ultimates. The 4 factions are as follows: Cleaners from The Division, Phantoms from Ghost Recon, Libertad from Far Cry 6, Echelon from Splinter Cell, and the currently unplayable DedSec from Watch Dogs 2. There are plenty of abilities here like a self-heal, invisibility cloak, and barrier that you can put down while playing to give you an extra edge in a gunfight. Ultimates see healing fields, a flamethrower, and a high damage suppressed pistol to really put the fear into your opponents. These abilities are something that I think could have ruined this style of game, but they're actually really well done here. There's not an over-reliance on them, the cooldowns are fair, and they can't just be spammed over and over again. It doesn't feel messy like I thought it was going to. Instead, it adds a new tactical aspect to this game, forcing you to really plan your engagements while taking into account what faction the enemy is playing to be prepared if they so choose to drop the ability if it's off cooldown. It's just an exciting new loop to the classic arcade style of gunfight. The only one that I'm not so keen on is the Cleaners faction. The fire stuff can get kinda annoying and feel a little naughty when you get tickled by the flamethrower and die. But that's really the only one I can think of that needs a bit of a rebalance. It's not game breaking. These abilities add to the movement of the game, which is quite frankly amazing. It feels so fast to run around with the right attachments. Rushing in FPS games is finally back and it's better than ever. Felt really good being able to zoom around the map, throwing in little hops and corner jumps just to get the edge and outsmart your opponents on movement alone. It just feels classic while having that modern polish, and I love it. The movement here is aided immensely by the return of 3-lane maps, a staple of the genre. The maps are well designed enough to allow the movement to really shine. You're able to bob and weave pretty seamlessly through the 3 lanes, and it allows for some solid moments where you can get behind the enemy team and wipe out a decent few of them before making your exit. There's also a bit of verticality to make it exciting, but not so much that it's overwhelming. I don't really know where else to put this, so I'll say it here. The game is surprisingly colorful. The maps, the character designs, it's just really nice to see some color in the sea of bland shades of gray maps in the other shooters that have been coming out. In the desperate attempts at realism, games have lost the vibrancy and the fun to their look, instead supporting dreadfully bleak, war-torn environments. xDefiant brings that back. There's still war-torn, but there's color and personality here, and it's truly refreshing. There are 4 game modes currently. Escort the payload like TF2 and Overwatch, Zone Control where one team attacks 2 points to gain control before pushing the defending team back to another, and then another set, before winning. Domination, the classic of all classics, and Occupy, the King of the Hill mode. I mainly spent my time in Domination, it's just so nostalgic for me, but all the modes are fine. Escort feels surprisingly decent to play in this style of game. The only one I'm not too fond of is zone control. I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't click with me. Maybe it's the map layout. Point is, there's a few options here on what to play. I know more will be added, but I hope we get some TDM or kill confirm since we already have objective focused modes to the forefront. Before I go to the few complaints I have, I'm going to dump some personal miscellaneous thoughts here. The guns feel really good and distinct. SMGs are super fast and you can really cater to that rush playstyle inside of you. Reminded me a lot of how I used to play Call of Duty back in the day and it was so nice. The guns that really caught my attention, however, are the snipers. Wow, do they feel awesome to use. Quickscoping is back in full force and you could really do some damage with these things. They feel so clean in their current state and I spend a lot of time going back and forth between SMGs and snipers. Even though there are only two, it doesn't bother me when they feel this nice to use. The healing ability is insane and feels like the only option if you start on it, but honestly, the rest of the abilities are pretty good too, which surprised me. Usually in games there are abilities, or in this case, a faction that would stand out and dominate the rest. I'm impressed that they managed to balance them out so well. Okay, time for a few issues. The first being so minute, you're gonna think I'm a monster. The loading screens are like poop resolution. What's up with that? Okay, I don't care that much. It's just something I noticed and was a little confused. It looks like someone used the blur tool on them, and it's hard not to notice when loading in. Okay, a real issue I have is that you can be killed behind walls, like actually killed after you've taken cover. It's really annoying to use good movement and outsmart an enemy, only to die behind the wall you were sure was gonna save you. It's not a deal breaker, but it needs to get fixed. Doesn't happen every time, but it's more noticeable if you're going on a high kill streak only to die in that manner. It's frustrating. The other issue I have right now is the spawns on some maps. Spawn trapping is in this game, and it's annoying as ever if your team is getting whooped, but that's part of the fun in these games honestly, and you can break out of a spawn trap. No, there are some times where I would just spawn in with the enemy team. It was really weird. It didn't happen too often, but something to note. All in all though, xDefiant is looking really good to me. It's the throwback to arcade shooters that we all deserve in our lives. And who would have thought that Ubisoft would have been the one to bring it to us? Fast-paced, hop on for a few games, pub stomping fun is back, and I couldn't be more excited to see where the future leads this game. As long as they pace themselves properly, avoid pay-to-win mechanics, and continue to add new stuff, this game will soar high in my eyes. Free-to-play is the best move they could have done here, and I think this game has a very bright future. Let me know what you guys think about xDefiant. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be notified of future uploads. Plenty more content to come. Anyways, I'm out. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.